When does your compact family crossover SUV out-accelerate sports cars going 0 to 60? It's when it's a Tesla Model Y Performance. Hi, this is Joe from Scarff Ford and Isuzu, and today we're going to talk about this 2023 Tesla Model Y Performance. Let's dive in. This is an absolute performance machine. It has a crossover SUV body, but this thing has some serious performance. Tesla does not release official power figures on the Tesla Model Y, but based off its performance, some speculate it makes between 450 and 500 horsepower. 0 to 60, a little over 3 seconds. Top speed, I think, is right around 155 miles per hour, but that's actually electronically limited. 155 is basically pushing the limits of the tires, the suspension and brakes, and obviously there's not too many places in public roads where you can go 155 miles an hour. But you can have a lot of fun accelerating up to the speed limit, and you can do it really quickly, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. The Model Y Performance also has a more aggressive wheel and tire package. In fact, the Model Y has staggered wheels and tires. The rear tires are actually wider than the front wheels. If we look over here, rear tires 275/35 ZR21. And then we look at the front tires, 255/35 ZR21. So they are staggered. Generally, high-performance vehicles, cars and SUVs, will have a staggered wheel and tire package that maximizes handling. What are the drawbacks? Well, if you have rear tires that are wider than the front tires, you can't rotate them. So those of you who are Model Y shopping, this is my recommendation. If you're a bit of a penny pincher and you hate having to do tires in your car, get a regular Model Y. You can get a performance boost upgrade, and you can get the larger induction wheel and tire package, which looks similar to these Uber turbine wheels, but they're not staggered. You can rotate them. So potentially you could get twice the tire life out of a regular Model Y. But if you want the ultimate performance and the ultimate look with the Model Y Performance, you have a lower suspension, these large diameter wheel and tire package, they look really nice. The regular induction wheels are 20 inches. These are 21 inches. So that's kind of the penalty you're going to have to pay for performance and looks with the Model Y Performance, is having the staggered wheel and tire package. But not everyone knows that. I had one person I was talking to, and she had a Model Y Performance, and she did not look like a speed racer, and she was crying about how she was going through tires so fast. And unfortunately, since she can't rotate her tires, that basically means your tires last half as long as when you have regular non-staggered wheels and tires where you can rotate them. No engine up here. We have a frunk, so you have lots of cargo space. The Tesla Model Y, even though it's a compact crossover, is really quite amazing with how much space it has for cargo and for people. That's because we're not hampered by the conventional construction design of a gas car with engines, drive shafts, emission control system, fuel systems. Battery and electric motor are very simple. There's only dozens of moving parts on this vehicle versus thousands. So having that simplicity allows for a clean sheet design in the interior, allows for more interior space, more cargo space, which we'll show you shortly. The Model Y Performance also gets these upgraded red brake calipers and a carbon fiber trunk-mounted spoiler, power rear liftgate. Amazing amount of interior space. You can fold down those rear seats, and you actually have enough space with the seats folded down to put a sleeping bag back here, some thermarest and camp. In fact, this actually has a camp mode, so it basically allows you to operate the climate control system, infotainment system, so you can stay warm and entertained, listen to music, watch movies while you're camping without drawing unnecessary electricity from the vehicle. If you just have it regular running without camp mode, you might have the brake system primed. The thermal management system might be working harder to cool the battery when not needed. You don't need the power steering system on and things like that. So the camp mode is really cool for people who like the car camp. Storage pocket on that side, a storage pocket on that side. And then if we flip this up, we have a gigantic sub-trunk. No gas tank, no exhaust system, allows for more space. There's also a little bit more cargo space under there. Kind of hard to see, it's dark back here. Has nice all-season mats. It is amazing how much space this has for a compact. Generally, you're gonna have more space in the Model Y versus a comparable gas-powered crossover of a similar size. For those reasons I just talked about, no gas tanks, no exhaust system, no drive shafts, frees more interior space. This has a nice sunshade, which is easily removable, as you can see. This kind of dims things down. Like when the sun's really bright, having this glass roof panel is great, but it turns the car into like a greenhouse. So having this definitely cuts down on the intensity of the sun. Easily removable, folds and stows, and the front doesn't take up that much space. You also get the aluminum pedals with the performance. Nice clean sheet, minimalist design in the interior, very void of buttons and knobs. It's a very serene, quiet place. You're not overwhelmed with buttons and lights and screens all over the place. You just have this one screen here. This is a command center to the vehicle. Literally, this is like a supercomputer on wheels. The processors that they use to power the infotainment system and the full self-driving computers is pretty similar to the high-speed gaming processors, the video processors in like a gaming PC. It literally is a supercomputer on wheels. Take a look over here. So whenever you have a red line underneath the dual motor, that means it's a performance edition. It says 31,473 miles. Has a full self-driving computer 3, so it doesn't have the software. If you want to utilize the software, it's either $99 a month or $8,000. 99 bucks a month is great. The full self-driving has gotten really good. I've been using it for 3 years. I have a similar system in my Tesla. So my commute to work, basically, it's hands-free. It needs very little intervention. And when it's intervening, it's not because I'm afraid it's going to crash. It's usually it's just made an accident and it's going to get off at the wrong off-ramp or on-ramp, or it's in the wrong lane. I'm not intervening because it's about to crash into someone. I'm fairly confident at this point that it's going to be very difficult for this car to crash. Someone might crash into you, but this car crashing into someone or something, it's pretty amazing how good the system is. It's not perfect, but the good news is, and people say, oh, how could you have a car drive for you? I'd be freaked out. Look, you're sitting in the driver's seat. You got the steering wheel right here. You got the pedals. You're paying attention. All right, something's happening. Oh no, something's happening. Okay, I'm in control now in a second. Think about how stressful it is when you have your 16-year-old, you're teaching to drive and you're in that driver's seat. It's not quite as easy to take over. And it's actually the point where I think this is better than a 16-year-old driving, maybe like a 19 or 20-year-old. When I first got it, mine 3 years ago, was probably as good as like a 10-year-old driving, but it's updated itself, it's improved, it's used all the data of all the people driving these vehicles to improve itself. So I think once you get comfortable with the system, the first time I used it, my heart was racing. I was excited, but it was stressful, but I've driven like 30,000 miles on full self-driving, so I'm perfectly calm. And when I put it on, I can feel a whole weight lifted off my shoulders. We're doing construction today, down to one lane on the highway. I was in stop and go traffic for 40 minutes. And so just to have the car just stop and go, it's driving, it's steering, and I can just sit here and listen to my podcast, listen to the news, listen to my music. I can feel a whole weight lifted off my shoulders. When you're white knuckling it on dark, rainy nights, we're having a hard time seeing, this full self-driving takes over. Boop! The car's driving, you're in supervisor mode. It has a camera here, making sure you're paying attention. So if you take your eyes off the road too long, if you're staring at, houses and trees driving by, you're staring at that screen too long, you're on your phone, that's going to warn you. And if you don't heed its warnings, it will deactivate the full self-driving. If you do it too much, it can actually take away the full self-driving use for a little while, put you in the penalty box. So Tesla is making sure that people don't abuse these systems. All it requires you to do is stare out the window and it will do the rest. I can see a change. Like, for instance, my wife, who at first, she was terrified of the full self-driving. Recently, we had some family fly into Hawaii, and she was going to go pick them up, but we have a big 12-passenger van, which is a little bit more ideal for picking up a family at the airport versus a Tesla Model 3 sedan. But it was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was dark and rainy, and my wife has bad night vision. She wears contacts, and she hates driving at night. And just the idea of having the car drive her to the airport and back was convincing enough for her to take the Tesla and squeeze in the luggage and the people, just enough room for everybody. So that's how good it has. My Tesla has passed the wife test, and it's passing other people's wife tests. And you can also, it passed the husband. they call it the wife test. We drove a half hour to a baseball game with my mother-in-law back. I had the full self-driving on, and when we got there, I said, "Hey, did you notice that the car drove the whole time?" And she didn't even realize it. So when it gets as good to the point where you can't even tell the car's driving, that's when we're getting in the good zone. And I have a tendency to ramble on about all this. I ramble on and on. Okay, No wonder why my videos go on for 20 minutes. I'd like to make a Tesla video in 5-10 minutes like some of the other vehicles, but there's just so much to talk about. They have heated seats, heated steering wheel, amazing climate control system. It's just basically like using an iPad, adjust the airflow. This has a biodefense mode. So when you put the biodefense mode on, right now it's pressurizing the air in the cabin. So the only way, we'll shut off now. The only way air will be able to come in is through a giant HEPA filter in the front. This HEPA filter is like the size of the HEPA filter in your home, like your home furnace. It's gigantic, and it's very good at filtering, you know, dangerous particles, particulates, allergens, and it doesn't just clean the air coming in the vehicle. It will also continuously clean the air inside the vehicle. So if you have hay fever, allergies, areas where there's forest fires, this biodefense mode works fantastic. It's not a gimmick. You have theater mode. You can't do it while you're driving, but maybe one day you will with that full self-driving. That'd be cool. You can play video games. Again, something maybe that will let you do when you're eventually the full self-driving, but right now you have to do it while it's parked. Then you have the toy box. You know, a recent update, you can basically transform your vehicle into a light cycle from Tron. Rainbow Road, you have your vehicle play the light show. You can do the whoopee cushion, colorizer, so if you wrap your vehicle, you can have your avatar match the wrap. Then we have the boom box. You can talk through the horn. All right, I'm gonna put my microphone out here and give you a little demonstration of the boom box.
You see, you can talk through the horn in a creepy voice. So you can talk through the horn, you can play music through the horn. You can also change the sound of the horn. When you actually use the horn, it can sound like a...
Well, I never.
My Tesla's older, so unfortunately my horn doesn't have the ability to do all that cool stuff. That wasn't available till for 2020 and newer Teslas. You can also change the lock sound of the vehicle. So for instance, I did kind of like a retro sound. But you can also change the sound of the vehicle when it locks. And Tesla is one of the only manufacturers that can do stuff like this because Tesla makes its own MCU, its mobile control unit. Basically, almost every other manufacturer, they rely on a third party to make this. So basically, you have a manufacturer cobbling together all these different components made by different companies, the MCU. Tesla, you know, these companies don't have the ability to take control of the coding and firmware. Since Tesla makes its own MCU, this can integrate with the vehicle to a level that you really can't see in any other vehicles where it can do stuff like this. They can have these updates and change so much stuff. This is literally like a supercomputer on wheels. And here's another recent update. Hey Grok, can you tell me some of the performance specs of a 2023 Model Y Performance?
Yeah, the 2023 Model Y Performance is a beast. It's all-wheel drive with dual motors pushing about 455 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. Hits 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, tops out at 155 miles per hour, and gets an EPA range of around 303 miles. Pretty quick for an SUV, right?
Why does a Model Y Performance have staggered wheel and tires?
Staggered wheels give it better cornering, wider rears for grip under acceleration, narrower fronts for steering response. Keeps handling sharp without too much drag up front. Makes sense for a performance beast like that.
What are some drawbacks of having staggered wheels and tires?
Yeah, staggered wheels aren't perfect. Wider rear tires mean more rotational mass, so they eat up energy. Could knock a few miles off your range. Swapping tires for rotation is trickier too, since fronts and rears aren't the same size, leading to uneven wear if you don't watch it. Plus, if one rear blows out, you gotta carry 2 different spares or just limp to a shop. Annoying, right?
What are some things we can do on a drive? I have a long drive. What are things you can do to help me keep me entertained?
Well, I can't flip on your radio or start a movie. No magic there. But I can spin some stories, crack jokes, or quiz you on random trivia to kill the boredom. Want a fun fact about the road ahead? Or should I just roast bad drivers we pass?
Pretty cool. Thank you, Grok. That's another feature that my Tesla doesn't have, unfortunately, either. It's 2023, and it's 2023 Teslas and newer, which have a newer infotainment system that can operate Grok. So with the over-the-air updates, Tesla's able to keep a lot of older Teslas like mine relevant, but you don't have everything. But it is still one of the few vehicles that can get better, can gain features the older it gets. My Tesla is a better car today than it was 3.5 years ago when I bought it. It has more features, it drives better, it's safer, I have more content. You know, Tesla sometimes finds ways to even make the vehicles more efficient with over-the-air updates. I could literally go on, but the good news is on our YouTube channel, I have so many videos about Teslas, I could literally go hours. I wish I could do this video in 5 minutes, but there's just so much stuff to talk about. And I could talk about more, but I'm getting tired, I got more videos to do. Thanks so much for watching our Scarff Ford and Isuzu. We've been in business 103 years. We sell new Fords, new Isuzus, and a very wide variety of pre-owned vehicles. We do well with EVs. EVs are very popular here in the Seattle Tacoma area. So we always keep a lot of different EVs in stock, not just Teslas. We have Polestars, we have our own products like the Ford Mach-E, the F-150 Lightning, the E-Transits. We have an electric Porsche Macan, electric Mini, and then of course we have a great selection of gas cars, all sorts inside. We have vehicles for everybody, cars from $8,000 to $108,000. Thanks so much for watching, we'll see you next time.